Hi everyone, I'm Sam McDonough, IFBB Bikini Pro, and today we're going to recap a few pro shows. But I first wanted to say I know it's Pride Month, so I've been starting every video with something about Pride. But today and recent days have just been overshadowed by the crisis going on against immigrants in our country. And with everything going on in LA with the protest against the ICE raids and the National Guard being unleashed to go arrest peaceful protesters, it's tough to say good morning because what's happening is wrong. And I mean, what our government is doing is wrong, not what the protesters are doing. They are doing the right thing. So yeah, I don't really have anything to say about Pride today. I just want to say if you see an ICE agent or if you hear the ICE agents are in your city or just where you live, or you know people in a place that you know ICE agents are at, then please alert the people in your life, whether they have citizenship or like a green card or I don't know all the intricacies of the different types of status. You can have the different documentation, but it doesn't feel like anyone is safe right now. So just reach out to anyone in your life if you hear of something going on. But we are gonna try to keep it upbeat as far as our show reviews go. So yeah, the only things we control are reaching out to our loved ones, protesting, and just being there for each other, especially, with everything that's going on. So let's talk about the recent shows. And we're gonna start with the Battle of Titans Natural Pro, which happened over a week ago, and I just like completely forgot. Um, I didn't look at the list when, or not the list, but I didn't look at the results when they happened. So we are going to talk about it. I really wanted to highlight it because the winner of this show, Mashaya, this was just an incredible freaking example of the difference a front post can make. So the week before this, she competed at a different show, the IFBB, or a couple weeks, the Vegas show, and she ended up getting eighth at this show, I believe. So let's see. Yeah, she was eighth out of nine people at this show. So what I said about her pose then, or maybe I didn't even talk about her pose, but I think I did. It's really, really opened up. So we lose a lot of hourglass shape. She has shape just from the fact that her lats are beautifully developed, but we lose all hourglass shape in this waist down. Like the lat shows it, but everything else down does not. So what I said in my preview video for the Natural Titans show was that if she angled her hips away a little bit so I see less of the front of her suit bottoms, then she would probably have a killer front pose. And are you kidding me? Look at this. This completely changes everything. Look at the silhouette. In this photo, her glute looks flat because we aren't seeing any of its profile. I love her makeup. I don't know if that's like too much for the pro stage, but I love it. So yeah, look at this. Look at this photo. Uh, the lat, we could see a little more openness here. It would still be balanced even if she opened up her lat a little bit, but the shape in her leg is like miles and miles improved. I do think her knee and foot could be more like it is in this photo on the left. So angling that knee at me, I don't want to see the bottom, like this diagonal of the shoe here. So if she could just like angle her knee in, I think that would really help because this leg looks a lot smaller than this leg. So that takes away from some of her balance. But in this photo, her legs look very balanced because her leg is closer to the same plane as it is here. So yeah, what could she do to further improve this front pose for the Ben Weider at the end of the year? Bring her hand down more to this connector so she doesn't cut off her silhouette prematurely. So hourglass shape, it's literally two symmetrical halves. When your hand is up this high, it's even above her belly button line. When your hand is up that high, it kind of cuts the physique into three separate parts. So upper, middle, and then lower. So if she could just easily move her hand down, she would get better balance from top to bottom and more hourglass shape. She could also bring this lat around more. I think it's just because her hand is up so high that it kind of pinches off her arm here. But yeah, she could further improve this, like if her hand were a little bit lower, shoulders are more level, and she weren't letting this shoulder kind of like roll forward. I still want to see this lat projection like we see in the photo on the left, but really great. The suit is okay. It's not my fave. I don't love all the bright stones on there. But yeah, this pose is way better. So congratulations to her. That is super, super thrilling. So her back pose is stunning. It looks like she has a little too much fabric on these bottoms. It's kind of bunching up, so it can look a little bit like, loose underwear. So if she could just have less fabric, then it would lay flush to her skin, which is what I like, and it would also give her more heart shape. Right now, it's super rounded, and I think it's just because there's excess fabric. We're losing those shoulder caps, so the fullness in the shoulders is not matching the fullness in her glutes. Her waist is crazy, and her back pose is really good. Could she use a little more upper outer? Yeah, probably. Uh, but yeah, her arms are looking thicker than her shoulders here, but I think that's just because of the pose. So if she opened up her chest so we could really see the roundness in her shoulder capping, I think that would improve this pose. Maybe she could slide her hands down a little bit more, but I think right now she's just kind of like diagonally forward when she needs to even arch her upper back a little bit so we see those shoulders nice and flat so we get the shape to her lateral delt because she definitely has a lot of shape to her delts, but we can't see it in that back pose. So that's something she could improve for the Ben Weeder. And then in second place, we had Megan DeGento. And she just qualified for the Ben Weeder at the DC Natural Show, which we'll talk about in a sec. So I have the same things to say about her. She looks a little lean back in this front pose. Her pelvis looks tucked. These suit bottoms look like they're a little bit loose, so that's something I haven't noticed on her before. But her shape in the front pose is great. I would say she looks a little bit hard compared to our winner. So that could have been a differentiating factor. But I think the biggest thing is just her glute fullness. So her pose looks a little bit better here, but it really does look like her pelvis is pretty neutral. I want her to arch more so we get more roundness to this upper outer and to push her upper body forward by like an inch or 2 inches. This is the kind of like open chest that is giving us the roundness in the delts that I just said I wanted from Ashea. And I would like to see this exact same thing, but pushing the upper body forward a bit. That way the width of the back doesn't overpower the width of her glutes. She looks a little bit hard in the hamstrings, but I think if she pushed her upper body forward a little bit, I would be less distracted by that. Glutes look really full, but yeah, looks a little bit hard in the hamstrings and in the conditioning on the upper body just slightly. I also don't adore this velvet color. I think she could wear this color, but the velvet is looking a little bit too reflective with her hair color. And yeah, I think the hair could be a little more polished. It looks like it just needs to be more even in its texture. So yeah, I would like a little more fullness to kind of downplay the development of the upper body, especially in the back pose. And then in her front pose, I think the hair could also have like a little more volume up top, just more glam with the hair and the makeup. But really great look, and congrats to her on qualifying for Benny Weeder. So we will go over those pictures in a sec. Then in third place, we had Ashley Downs. So same critiques for her. She looks awesome. She has a great physique, but she just doesn't quite have as much development in the lower body to match that in the upper body, and the core could be a little bit tighter. So I think that's it, just like evening out the level of muscularity from top to bottom and front to back. Her glutes look the fullest that they have to me, but it just looks like her shoulders overpower her a little bit. The hair, a brush could be run through it, but the curls are pretty on her. The red looks good on her. So yeah. And then we have we have Sepida. So she is looking, the hair and makeup looks great. And same things I said before, great stage presence, but just needs a little bit more muscle overall. 'Cause she looks a little bit hard in this upper body. Really great shape to these delts though, and really tight waist. This is the tightest her waist has looked to me, I think. And yeah, she just looks tighter in the upper body with this conditioning than she does in the lower body. And I think it's because she just doesn't have quite enough muscle for her conditioning to match from top to bottom yet. So if she just took some time off, built up her muscle maturity all over her physique, then I think she has a great shape and clearly has the work ethic to be doing shows often. So yeah, that's what I like to see from her. And this lean forward is more like what I want to see from Megan, but straighter arms on her like Megan has. And she also is pinching her shoulder blades, which is exposing like her suit cups in the front. So when you pinch your elbows back like that, it does completely diminish your lats, and then you can see side boob in the back pose. So I would just have the arms closer to her body so she can bring her lats out, which would give her better hourglass shape from the back. Because this pose has her looking lower body dominant because we've lost an entire muscle group. The hair looks really pretty though. But yeah, build up the upper body and the lower body, but the upper body will, it just looks a little small in comparison to the lower. So she's a newer pro. She has, more, she seems young. She has more than enough time to put this muscle on. And I really admire her work ethic doing these couple shows already. So good for her. Okay. And then, okay, I'm going to preview Nevada and Empro with Chelsea, if you remember Chelsea from our Arnold video. And we are also going to discuss Mile High because Chelsea was volunteering at the show, so she saw the competitors in person. So you can look forward to seeing Chelsea again. I know I'm looking forward to seeing Chelsea. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the DC Natural Pro, and then we'll get into Toronto and then Open DC. So Megan, like I said, she qualified. So here were the comparisons between the two of them. And it just sucks that there were only two people, honestly. Okay, so there's a picture, but we want to have them both posed. No, okay. I do not support Team Atlas. So Xing them out. Okay, so, okay, here is the, and maybe, you know what? Honestly, what do I mean? I shouldn't say that. What's he going to do to me? Okay, so here is the comparison. I think that, who is this competitor? What's her name? I think that Michelle's conditioning was really, really on point. It matches top to bottom. She's glowing, like it looks like her muscles popping out of her skin. The pink looks pretty on her. I think the lighting at this show kind of washed out a lot of the colors of the suits. So I'm not going to talk much about the suits because I think that the lighting distorted the coloring. But tapers into a really tight waist. What could she do? Like when I look at these two, what do I think? I think that Michelle has the conditioning they want, but I think Megan has the muscle that is more in line with the criteria and a lot of shape. Michelle has shape, but just not quite as much as Megan. So yeah, I also think this hand could be a little more relaxed. The straight fingers are throwing me off a little bit, and the shoulders could be more level. This one is hiked up a bit, but really great presence. Hair and makeup are gorgeous. She just looks phenomenal. So does Megan. And Megan, this hair is different. She's not going straight like she did at that the Titan show we just saw, but I think it could just be more glam. Crimping is pretty, but it's just not very glam. Um, Michelle's back pose conditioning really good again. Why do I think Megan won? I think they just went with the more muscular competitor because to me, Michelle, this back pose is perfection. Uh, Yeah, this is exactly the back pose I want to see on Megan. It looks like Megan did adjust her back pose a tiny bit here. So that's good. It looks like she's squatting into her pose a little bit too much for me, but hamstrings look full, glutes look full. I think where Michelle loses is the upper outer glute. It looks like Meg has a little bit more of that. But yeah, Michelle, really great look. I think Meg won on muscularity at this show, but that both of them had really, really good looks. And if they had entered into different shows, maybe both of them could have won that weekend. We can never know that, but that's what I'm thinking. So let's see if I have anything else to say when we take a closer look at these photos. The solo photos. Yeah, I think this is a better back pose. It looks like she has leaned forward a little bit more. So yeah, this is a really great back pose. Good luck to her at Ben Weeder. And then Michelle, what do I think? And you never know stage presence. So I didn't get to watch the stream for this, but Meg could have just had a much better, me calling her Meg like I know her, Meg could have just had a much better stage presence. But I think this is exactly the conditioning that they want. She looks very balanced. Could use a little more upper outer, like I said, but this is a really, really gorgeous look. So I look forward to seeing her compete again. It looks like she went pro at Ben Weeder last year. So it'll be cool for her to, now she's qualified for it. So that's awesome. Okay. And then going into, let's do DC first. So, okay. So in first place, we had Tara, and it was tight between first and second place. So I had China on, so you heard like some of my feedback on China. 1 point difference, really, really close. From what I heard, Tara just came in fuller in the glutes at finals, and that's what put her over the edge. But yeah, really, really tough comparison between those two. And these scorecards were just tough. So it was pretty solid that they were in first and second place. And then third and fourth, similar thing. Gabby and Alessia, 1 point difference. And then same thing for fifth and sixth place, 1 point difference. And we're going to go all the way to Nikki. And then seventh and eighth, same thing. Eighth and 10th, same thing. So all the way, it was like really tight between among all of these competitors. So let's get into their physiques. Let's start with, okay, so these are confirmation of scoring. So I'm going to pull these up first, and we're just going to look at these like I'm a judge. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, what do I notice? And let's pull up ones that have a lot of people in them so we can really see like what made athletes stand out over each other. So starting with front poses. Okay. Okay, so this like the bottom half of the lineup. So I guess we will just, who did I X out? I don't know. Sorry. Okay, let's just go here. Okay, so comparisons open, so we'll be able to see the call outs. So I never know if it's like the initial people coming out in alphabetical order or if it's the call outs. So here is a photo of the first call out. Oh, and mile high photos aren't even out yet, so I couldn't pull them up if I wanted to. Okay, so not everyone is fully posed, but what stands out to me here? When I open my eyes and look at this, what do I think? I think Tara looks very balanced from top to bottom. Fullness is similar everywhere. Same thing with China. Nikki, I think her pose is really, really, really good, but she's too profile, and I know she made a change with her posing between prejudging and finals. Gabby stands out to me, but she does lose it on the upper outer glute. So those are my initial thoughts. So if I were a judge, I probably would have put China and Tara in the center to begin with. And then I look at the back poses. Alessia stands out, Tara stands out, China stands out, and who is this? This person stands out. That's not Nikki, is it? Maybe it is. I don't know. We'll find out. So yeah, this is the best I've ever seen Alessia look too. And Alessia has placed like at the Olympia before, I think top 15 once. So, okay, let's get into everyone individually because it'll just be easier. So here is Tara. Okay. So, and I will just pull up the confirmation of scoring on the top two, and we'll kind of go over what I'm thinking when I look at these two athletes next to each other. So, front pose. China has the front pose for me. And I don't think like I'm the only one. Clearly, a lot of judges also thought that she was worthy of first place at this show. Suit, I love the suit. This one, maybe it's distorted, but like I love the suit. The balance between top and bottom looks really good. So she has her feet on the same plane now, which gives her more balance to the lower body, kind of what we were suggesting with a competitor earlier in this episode. Really full conditioning matches top to bottom. The only thing she's missing, and I don't think Tara even has it on her that much, is the projection in this upper glute. Tara, I would say that there's more differentiation between her glute and her leg than there is for China. So even though she doesn't have as much upper outer glute in this pose either, like they're pretty even with that, I would say China even beats her on the upper outer in the front pose. But as far as leg width, I would say China's leg width is a little wider and more in line with the width of her glute than Tara's. So Tara has a little more differentiation in her shape, but China's front pose is just so good, and her conditioning is so on point that like I still would give her the front pose, even though I think her glute looks a little bit underdeveloped in comparison to Tara's. Now, I would say about both of their front poses, they could bring their arm in tighter to their waist. It would just accentuate the hourglass even further. Especially on China, because China has like a freaky small waist. China, looking at this, could also drop her hand down a little bit so it's not covering up the smallest part of her waist, because that's one of her biggest assets. So I definitely wouldn't want to cover up like one of my best attributes. So I would bring her hand down just a smidge, like an inch, just so it's not right at the smallest part of her waist, which is her belly button. But this looks really, 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 really good. And if China's shoulder were a little smaller, I might not say that she is lacking glute, because then she would be very balanced. A little more upper outer glute, that's long term. That would make her like undeniably perfectly balanced from the front pose. So I would like to see that. If that's something she wants. She even said, like, in the video we did together, she's like, I don't even know if I want the muscle maturity they're asking for. So I really appreciated that too, how a competitor is willing to, or is not just going to do everything to fit a specific mold. Like, she really cares about loving the physique that she's in all the time. And if that means she, like, never goes to the Olympia, which I don't even think is the case. Like, I do think she can go to the Olympia. But even if it means that, then I think it's cool that she's like, I'm okay with that if it means I love my body. So yeah, really great look. Tara's front pose, I think she could also bring her arm in, but it's kind of hard to say really, because if she brings it in tighter, she doesn't have as freaky small of a waist. She, like, that's her biggest hurdle she has to overcome structurally. So if she brings it tighter in, maybe it makes her waist look thicker, honestly. So it might actually make sense to leave her arm here. It's just not typically what I like. What else could she do? Maybe. She's played with this pose a lot because she, like, knows that the waist can be an issue. It's been her feedback in the past from what I understand. If she angled her hips away a little bit, so more at the angle that China's are, where I see less of the front of her suit bottoms, then I think that could give her a better shape to her waist. Let's see if she's done that before, because she might have done it before. And this is her first show of the year, and she qualified immediately. So congrats to her. Okay, so this is last year when she won this same show. So, okay, let's look. So she is angled away more. And I do think it looks a little better. Not crazy, but, like, definitely better. Hair and makeup is always perfect. I'm obsessed with the way Tara does her hair. So yeah, I think if she angled her hips more like she did here, that would be better. But I'm sure she did it for a reason. So I'm sure she's just going off of judges' feedback. I was devastated last year when I didn't see her make top 15. I was, like, very, very hopeful for her. Okay, so was this 2024 that I'm looking at? Okay, let's look at their back poses now. Okay, so here they are in their back poses. And okay, China, if you're watching, you can tell me if this was taken at night. I think it is because it's confirmation of, I don't know though. So what do I see when I look at this back pose? What do I see? The conditioning on China especially is completely on point. Like, you see that soft tie-in to the hamstring. And she said that she talked about this feedback, so you can just watch that video. But in the back pose, for me, Tara is missing a little hamstring, and for China, she's missing a little bit of upper outer glute. And I said this in our episode, but if she pulled her suit bottoms down a little bit so we don't see this, like, divot in the glute, that would be very helpful. Because when you see that shallow part, it makes the glutes look like they're shallow, even though they're obviously not. Like, China has incredible glutes. She just needs a little more projection, and she knows that, and she's only been doing this sport for like a year. So yeah, and Tara is somebody who's built up a lot of density in her glutes over recent years. This back pose is really, really good. Could she straighten her arms a little bit? Like, I think the elbows like this make her look a little blocky. So I would like if she did that. But yeah, I would say it's just going to be continuing to hammer projections upper outer glute. She's getting the same shallowness in the upper glute here, and a little more projection in the hamstrings for me personally, just based on these photos. But in a different lineup, maybe I wouldn't think that. But I do think looking at this and looking at her front pose, like a little more size in the hamstring here would add to an overall cohesive shape. And then China, I wouldn't want to see her hands. Like, Tara's doing a good job obscuring hers. Do I think her arms could be a little bit straighter? Yes, I think that would improve her shape. But yeah, if we could just eliminate seeing the hands here, then that would just give a more streamlined appearance to China here in this back pose. And her back pose it's incredible. It's really good. So yeah, suit bottoms pull down a little bit so we can conceal, like, the shallowness on both of them. And yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, okay. So looking at them individually, like, will I even have anything new to say? Let's see. Okay, so this is 2025. Good. So she is angled more away here. So this is actually, I mean, she won in the comparisons against China, being less turned. Does it make her upper glute look a little bit more shallow? Yeah. But I think it's worth the sacrifice because her waist looks smaller and tighter. So yeah, I think this is a great front pose. She's a little sloped down. It's kind of reminding me of Ashlyn with this slope. So if she could just stay level in the shoulders, and maybe she's not fully posed, her eyes are closed. Let's see. Yeah, for shoulders to be a little more level, but this is really, 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 really great glute projection, better than we were seeing in her other front pose, even though she still looks like a little flatter in the upper glute. And since she has this wider waist, she wears this V-cut bottom to like elongate. I assume that's why she's wearing it. So yeah, I think that's a smart move. This is a really, really great front pose. And then looking at her back pose, I think the same thing. A little more fullness in the hamstrings here, more upper outer glute, pull the suit bottoms down, but really good front pose. I mean back pose. Okay, and then looking at third place. Oh wait, no, let's go to China. Okay, so China. Here we go. So same things I said. We've kind of dissected all this. Yeah, it's just really good. I don't have anything new to add. Those were pretty good, like comparison photos between the two. Hands, I think, still could be like put down more, and it would relax the upper back a little bit. And she has really full shoulders, but I think it's just looking like maybe they're a little bit too flexed. And I think part of that is that her arms are so bent. So if she straightened her arms a little bit, she'd look more relaxed. Because I think that how full her shoulders look detracts from the or makes it look more like she needs more glute because these are looking so bursting full and round. So I think it minimizes how big her glutes actually are. So if she strained her arms a little bit, she would still get all the shoulder pop she needs, but she would look more balanced from top to bottom. And you'd be able to see more lat taper into her waist. She doesn't really need help with her waist looking small from the back. It already is small from the back. But yeah, straightening the arms a little bit so that way those shoulders are nice and relaxed while still giving them the fullness they need. And this left one, now I'm just nitpicking as if I wasn't before, is a little more hiked up than the other one. And that's probably just a posing imbalance from like posing on one side, which most of us have something like that. Another common one is like one hip being higher than the other. Okay, so then in Alessia was third. Okay. So Alessia was in third place. This is the best that she's looked in a while, I think. So makeup, I think, could be a little more glam. Her front pose, she has a similar waist thing that her waist is a little on the wider side. So what do I think about this? I think that knee is pointing away, so it's minimizing this back leg. So I want her feet to be more of a split stance. There's a gap between these feet. And that would give more hourglass shape to her lower body. And then don't angle a knee away. Angle it like straight forward or at the judges a little bit. Don't bend this arm. Level the shoulders. Just so we see more of that shoulder width tapering into her small waist. So, yeah. But I think her conditioning is totally on point. This is the best conditioning she's had. The blue looks really pretty on her. Her hair looks good. I really, really am excited about that look for Alessia. And then in her back pose, same thing, like best she's ever looked. I was thrilled to see her looking this great because she's had some trouble over the past couple years kind of fitting this, it's not a new standard, but like people are just getting better and better. So she was getting a little bit past. The glute fullness is great, not too hard in the hamstrings or the calves, which is something that like a place that she really had to tell for like getting too hard in those areas. A little bit of like a dug in hamstring there, but it's really, really, really good. The glutes look crazy full. Could the stoop be pulled down a little bit so it's not squaring off here? Yeah, but I don't think they're hurting her. Hair is a little bit too long though. And then same thing that I said about someone else, the Mashaya from the winning the natural DC. She could lift her chest a little bit so we see more roundness in these delts to match the roundness in her glutes. But those are two easy tweaks, just like having the hair a little bit shorter and then opening up the chest a little bit so you're getting those shoulder caps. But this is a really, 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 really good look, and I wish her tons of luck this season. I mean, I wish everyone tons of luck, but you know what I mean. So then in fourth place, we had Gabby. So Gabby, she has a really, really beautiful look. She won the overall at the Olympia Amateur in 22, I think. Yeah, okay. So I like the red on her a lot. And what do I think about this front and back pose? Okay, so here's her back pose, and then here is her front pose. So yeah, her front pose is a total standout for me. It's just the same thing that I said earlier, which is that we lose a little upper outer glute, so it takes away from that like matching fullness in the upper body. I would also bring this suit top in closer together so we don't see so much chest. So if she could, yeah, just pull the cuffs tighter together, and she has room to, like these little pieces of fabric, you can, that's where you pull the suit together with, or you know what I mean. Fullness is really good. I think the conditioning is on point. Does she look a little bit vascular? Yeah, but this is not like an egregious amount of vascularity that like knocks people way down in placings. Yeah, I think the issue is just less upper outer glute than the other people. Her waist is crazy. What do I think she could do to improve her shape? Mainly glute, and I almost wonder, okay, yeah, it's just lighting. She does have a nice taper into her lat because that is where her lat is right there. And then in her back pose, I think that's kind of where she falls short a little bit compared to the people who placed ahead of her. Just maturity and density in these glutes. The cut of the suit is perfection. It fits her perfectly. This is like exactly the kind of roundness I want to see on the other people that I said had a little bit of pointiness or like the shallowness in their glute showing. And I'm losing a little bit of pop in her shoulders. They just don't differentiate as much from her arms, but I really, really love her look. This is just the first show of her season, I think, too. Yeah, so she'll only get better from here, I'm sure. The hair looks a little bit heavy in the back, so I would I don't know what it is. Maybe a few less extensions. It just looks a little bit heavy. And it could be that it is like so jet black. Sometimes when hair is really jet black, it has that blue under like inky tone to it that just makes it look artificial and heavy. Not that a ton of people don't rock black hair on stage. And it could just be the lighting of the show, especially because it's so blue that it's adding to that. But yeah, the hair just looks a little bit heavy. So maybe one less row of extensions or something. Would that change your placing? No, I think that's my personal preference coming through. The part looks pretty, her makeup looks pretty. And I think she's pinching her shoulder blades together. So if she could open her shoulders, we get the same width from top to bottom. And this shoulder is hiked up, kind of like how I said China's was a little bit hiked up, her other shoulder. So yeah, really, really good look though. And just gonna need some more density in these hamstrings. You do lose some hamstring in this front pose too. So more hamstring and more glute. And that's pretty much everyone. Honestly, maybe even more rear delts. It just looks like the posterior chain is lagging a little bit. And that's honestly most people. Like, it's harder to connect with muscles that you can't see in the mirror. So I think that's where that's coming from. Okay. And then in fifth place, right? Okay, yeah, fifth place, we have Natalia. So Natalia has been climbing with each show. She went from 12th to 8th to now 5th, which is freaking awesome. I think it was her yeah, this is her rookie season. So looking at Natalia's front pose, hair, makeup, suit, very polished. Like, this is a killer rookie season. She looks awesome. Like, awesome. Her conditioning looks really good. Looks like there's some tanning issues on the leg. And when I close my eyes and open and pretend I'm a judge singer for the first time, my eye kind of goes to the lack of development in this calf here. It just looks like kind of skinny compared to the rest of the muscle she has. And that's almost a compliment because like her muscles are so full everywhere else that only one muscle stands out that is lacking for me, in like a big way. Not in a negative, I don't mean like big way, like it's negative. I just mean like, it's a noticeable because she's full pretty much everywhere else. So are there still areas she could bring up? For sure. Most people. So I would say upper outer glute, it kind of has this little dip here. And that's just because it's hard to get this glute meat to grow because when we start working out, we aren't doing much that like targets that. We do like abductions and stuff, of course, but it's honestly kind of tough to find a good abduction machine and find the right angle on an abduction machine and stay grounded. Like I know when I sit on an abduction machine, I like slide around, depending on like what kind of fabric my leggings are or whatever. So it's kind of hard to ground yourself, kind of hard to like hold a consistent position. So I feel for her there. But what do I think she could do long term? More density everywhere, especially in these calves. More upper outer glute, and that would accentuate how small her waist is. Her waist is small, and it looks like she's kind of pinched off in this lat here. So I think her lats are better than what she's showing. So if she could just like open up better so we see more shape, like cartoonish shape in this upper body, I think that would be helpful. But yeah, so that's the only front pose tweak I would make. I would probably take the hair off of the back shoulder because she's covering herself up even further, which makes her look even more profile and like kind of narrow in this front pose. But really, really great look. She's getting some like, They're not striations, but you can definitely see like some of the grooves of the muscle here, not in a very deep way, like feathering, but it does look like maybe she just needs a little more. I would say she needs a little more muscle maturity everywhere, but I don't know if she's like pushing into her toe, which would flex the quad like this. I just want to see that like soft teardrop shape that you see on most other people. And I think she is kind of tipped forward slightly, and that's what's going on like with the lat and with this muscle like flexing in this way. So if she just takes pressure off this foot, you should be able to lift that foot off the ground in your front pose. There shouldn't be any weight on it. So that's what I think there, and that's an easy posing fix. If that is the issue, which I think it is. In her back pose, shape is really good. And again, with the lighting at the show, I can't tell if the tan is messed up or if it just looks like it is. But yeah, the tan looks a little bit uneven. Hair is pretty. It is a couple different lengths, so I would want that to be a little more uniform. It's okay for it to go in this bowl shape, but you have like these strands that are going this way and then these strands that are going the other way. So if she could just, kind of get an even cut, that would be great. Her elbows are also angled out a bit, which diminishes her shoulder cap. So if she could angle her elbows in, like at us a little bit more, that would be good. She could also arch the lower back more, which would give more shape to the upper outer glute. The shape of the bottoms is perfect. It's very heart-shaped, but when she arches more, would it then flatten? Maybe. It wouldn't be the end of the world, but it's just, I'm going to know everything that comes to mind. Hamstrings look a teensy bit hard. And, okay, yeah, so this is her front pose leg, right? Because it almost looks like she had an injury in that calf. So, okay, here's her front pose. And then here's her back pose. So this leg would then be over here. So yeah, it looks like that might be atrophied for whatever reason. That's kind of what I was wondering when I was seeing this, because she has more shape in this one. But yeah, so I don't know if it's atrophied, if she had an injury, or if honestly, I don't think people recommend doing this that much, but if she could only work this calf, that wouldn't be bad, You don't want to develop muscle imbalances that way, but it looks like there already is a muscle imbalance. Maybe there's an argument for it. I'm not like a competition trainer in this way, so I really don't know. But yeah, angle the elbows in so we get more shoulder cap, which would match the fullness in the glutes, and then maybe tan could be better, I would say. And then we're going to talk about sixth place because I'm a big Nikki fan. Am I a Nikki fan? Whoever is watching this probably knows what I'm talking about. If they watch my other video, where I put that in the description. So here is Nikki. So Nikki changed her front pose after prejudging, which I think was a good move. I don't know what that adjusted pose looks like. So we'll go check and see if it's in the confirmation photos. But yeah, Nikki, hair and makeup, gorgeous. Tan, perfect. Shape, incredible. Like, this is a beautiful, beautiful shape. And this is only her pro debut. And she got sixth place. That's awesome. And she's competing again this weekend. So Chelsea and I will talk about her. Chelsea and I are going to record on Thursday at 1 p.m. my time. So it should be up, hopefully that evening my time. The videos take a while to export when I do them with other people. These ones I make and I just post them pretty much immediately. So yeah, you can expect that Thursday evening my time. So yeah, what do I think? More hamstring. The glute is there. It's gorgeous. Shoulders are there. This is beautiful, but more shape to the hamstrings. It kind of just flattens out there. The fullness in the quad is good though, but that reads as an imbalance from front of leg to back of leg. So I would like that. I would like her to open up her hips more at me, to get better overall hourglass shape. This is hourglassy, but she just looks too narrow. So yeah, I would open up the hips a little bit at me. And I think it's also making her stomach look like it's bulging out a little bit, but I don't think she has a bulgy stomach by any means. So yeah, that's just my takeaway when I first look at these. Oh, is her front pose a little bit different in this initial opening? No, it's kind of the same. Okay. And does she have a wider waist? I heard someone say oh, she posed like this, she has a wider waist, but I don't think that's true. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Nothing I don't think she can overcome, honestly. Okay, in her back pose. Okay, so a few things. Yeah, so she just doesn't really have much hamstring from what I saw at her pro win show, and then in this photo, she's just a little flat in the hamstrings. It does make her glutes stand out really well, so that's good, but we do see too much hamstring cord action here. So I would like more shape to the hamstring, and she's only getting that with taking time off. I think the cut is a little bit small too, because we're seeing like the flat part of her glute up here. And I think she's angling her toes in so her quads don't overpower. So it seemed like that worked out for her. But yeah, pull the suit bottoms down a little bit, up in the front probably. That's the only way if you're gonna make these suit bottoms work. Pull them down in the front, they have to go up in the back or down the back, they have to go up in the front. And I would straighten her arms a little bit, because she's just looking like kind of tight and pinched up here, and run a brush through the hair because you're seeing like locks. So I want that to be brushed through. But yeah, straighten the arms a little bit so she doesn't look like so pointy. Long term, more hamstrings, but I'm excited to see how she does this weekend. The arms look a little bit thin in this pose, but they don't look too underdeveloped in her front pose. I mean, her shoulders definitely like cascade into them, but yeah. Okay, let's see if she adjusts her front pose. Sometimes people just accidentally are inconsistent with their front pose. Okay, and she was, but in a way that she leaned forward in her final front pose. So those are all the people we're going to go over, but let's look at these comparison photos to see what that change she made to her front pose at finals was. Because I am very interested in that. Okay, so bear with me. Where is Miss Nikki? Am I a Nikki fan? Obviously. Nicki Minaj is my problematic fave. And I'm sure I have more and I just don't even know they're problematic. Okay. Oh, okay. So we're gonna see it here, I think. So, and why is Nikki my problematic fave? Why is she problematic? Because she is a rape apologist. Okay. Yeah, this front pose is much better. Continue to get this waist tighter and to build these hamstrings, but this shape I think is better. So I think honestly, more hamstring, probably a little more arms so they look fuller and like they match in the back pose. Continue to tighten this waist, but like 6-figure pro debut is incredible. And let's see if she beat any pros at this show. Or not pros, obviously she beat pros, but any Olympians. Okay, none that I look at this list and think of immediately, but maybe. I mean, I don't think so, but benefit of the doubt. Okay. And she almost got fifth place. That's cool. Okay, now let's go over Vancouver. So, okay. Brittany Gillespie, bitch. I feel for her. Second place again. I feel for her. I am a big fan, and I want her to get her qualification. Okay, so let's go over, and what were the scorecards? So yeah, first and second, it was sort of tight, 3 points. Um, I think that maybe how many judges were at this was a big pro show, so I wonder how many judges were there. It seems like there would be 11 judges there if it was I don't know. Well, let's see what other people got. 6, 9, 5, 10. Okay, so there were probably 9 judges. So it wasn't unanimous that Jessica won. It doesn't look like. So maybe Brittany had a vote to win. But anyway, so yeah, so there was a big gap between 2 and 3, and then it was tight between 3 and 4, and then another gap between 4 and 5, and so on. Then it was like pretty even across the board. So let's look at these comparisons first, and I will tell you when I look at these photos what stands out to me and why. So let's start with these ones. I don't know, is it going to be in here? Where is Brittany? Brittany, show me your blonde hair and I will know that you're in this photo. Okay, okay. Because that means this is our first call out. Okay, so here is maybe this is not a first call out because I don't see the winner in this photo. Okay. So is this my first call out? You don't see, oh, there's Jessica. Okay, okay. So Jessica won rookie season. So this is and I thought about this when I was doing that video with China the other day, where I was like, the only people that come to mind who have done really well quickly are Jordan and Daraja. And I knew Jessica had won this show already, but I didn't want to, be like, well, China, actually someone else just did the rookie season and won a show. I don't know. I know. I just didn't say it. But okay. So here is, and honestly, maybe I overthought that. Like, I probably should have just given it Jessica a shout out then. It just didn't feel like I should. So, okay. When I look at this picture and I open my eyes, who do my eyes go to? Alice, Maxine, Brittany, Not Jessica, honestly. And not because I don't think Jessica looks great, but I just think her legs look stockier than her upper body, and we need to streamline. When I look at this photo, the two people who look very streamlined to me are Brittany and Maxine. Ellie does too, but I don't see as much upper outer glute. But yeah, when I look at that photo, I think they look streamlined, and that Alice does because of Alice's conditioning and bubbliness. So I'm gonna X that out because it's kind of far away anyway. And then when I look at the back pose for these competitors, who do my eyes go to? Well, I go to the fact that it looks like Brittany's hip alignment is a little bit off, like we kind of talked about a little bit ago, where I said you'll see people's shoulder alignment or hip alignment can be off sometimes. In the back pose, who do I go to? When I look at this back pose, my eyes immediately go to Brie. They go to Brittany, but I do miss seeing hamstrings, and they definitely go to Jessica. So those are the three from the back that I'm like, wow, like stand out. And that's mainly because of the glute projection. Maxine, somewhat, but Maxine just needs more density in those glutes because there does look to be like a little bit of a flatness across them. But the shape is 100% there. Like once she's able to fully fill out that shape, then I think she wins most shows because her conditioning and her presence is really good and her balance is really good. But as far as like when I look at this show, the people that stand out are number one, uh, Jessica and Brianna. And then Brittany stands out. I'm just missing hamstrings. And Maxine stands out. I'm just missing overall density. But who got fourth place? Fourth place, we had Alice. So yeah, Alice, I mean, she also stands out, of course, like I said. But she just looks a little too hard in the hamstrings. It doesn't look like she has as much projection in the glutes. And the other people I mentioned all have projection in the glutes, including Maxine in this upper outer more than Alice. So yeah, that's what stands out. And I think Alice's tan was a little bit light. So yeah, that's what I think there. Now let's get into everyone individually. So Jessica, congratulations, rookie season, going to the Olympia. That's fucking incredible. Allie Bathauer also comes to mind because she went to the Olympia her second pro season. But Jessica's conditioning is completely spot on. This is it. I have the same feedback that I've had previously. Her hair and makeup looks beautiful. The waist, it could just be a little bit tighter. She could arch the low back so she gets more shape to the glutes in the front pose because her upper body overwhelms her lower for me. The shape to her lat, tapering to her waist, is excellent. But yeah, she just looks a little bit stockier in the legs and the upper body in this front pose in general. But if she could just like streamline this and maybe it can happen by Olympia, then I think it's a really great front pose. It just is a little bit not as streamlined as other competitors. But it's a great, great look. And definitely, worthy of doing this well. That's just kind of what stands out to me. Like there's a mismatch between front and back for that reason. Her back pose is incredible. Like her calves I find a little bit distracting, but Brittany also has pretty big calves. They were 1 and 2, so they're pretty comparable in that way. The conditioning is perfect, like that gentle like connection between the hamstring and the glute. This is really good. Her glutes don't look as full as they did at her last show, in my opinion. Let's see. From what I remember, at least. Yeah, I prefer the projection she had here at her Miami show. It just doesn't look like as poppy at the show she won compared to this one, but hey, she won. So yeah, the balance looks good though. The shoulder width. Yeah, that looks really good. So go, Jessica, happy for her. The hair, again, I still think looks a little bit heavy. Like, same thing I was saying about someone else, less extension. So, Brittany, I am a big Brittany fan. Am I a Brittany fan? Okay, so I'm a Brittany fan. Here's her front pose, and then let's pull up her back pose right side by side. The hair, I love the straight hair she went with. I also love the curls that she does. Her hair really can do no wrong except for that one show where it was like different lengths, but I think she even said like she had someone else install her extensions, which she's normally not comfortable with. So, shit happens. So this is what I was saying about her calf being kind of overpowering like Jessica's. They're pretty evenly matched in that way. Brittany's front pose, I want to say it's one of my favorites just because of how like fucking cartoonish it looks. Yeah, I love Brittany's look. Love it. Like, that's no secret. The suit color, so I did say I liked it at her last show, and I do like that it's light blue. I just don't like that it's a powdery blue. So I think I said this in my last video. If it were a more saturated base, and I know she like wants to be different, she's like posted about that on her Instagram. And Brittany, I messaged you a while back. If you want to come do an interview, like I would love to have you. um, but if she had a more saturated base color, then I think it would pop more. It is giving Elsa vibes, but I don't know if it's like the best thing because it's like icy, which is almost it just kind of washes her out a little bit, at least in the photos I've seen at these past couple shows. But I think the color is like she's really on the right track, just with a less of a silvery base and more saturated of a base. So even like Tricot Aquamarine, or like what else does, because she's sponsored by Toxic, or not sponsored, but like has a code with them, I'm sure. She wears Toxic, that's what I'm trying to say. So Toxic Angels, they have, see, obviously I love Tricot Aquamarine. They have other suits. Okay, fabric samples. They have other colors that are in the same light blue vein. But she doesn't have to do Tricot Aquamarine. Like, she doesn't want to be the same as everyone else. That's fine. Uh, I would maybe try. I thought they had a Tricot Ocean Blue at one point. Yeah, Tricot Seafoam. Even this. This would be perfect. If she could get this color, then that would be the saturated base that I'm asking for. And then like even the same stones. Like I really just think it's the fabric that is an issue for me, and it's too icy, especially with her hair. So yeah, and I would think it's too icy on anyone. So yeah, I think if you can get this color, like that would be perfection. Okay, so back to her front pose. So yeah, she's one of my faves. I feel for her. She kind of is all over the place in placings, and now she's Mr. Olympia qualification by one spot, two times for this 2025 qualification period. Her back pose, I think, is way improved, and she doesn't look as hard in the triceps as she was at her last show. So I think the balance in her upper body is actually spot on this time. Like I said, I like the hair, the makeup is good. What do I think she needs long term? I would say more full, and I know it's always like a game of catch up. She's had her feedback all last season was just bigger glutes, and she's definitely delivered on more glutes. But now it looks like they're overpowering her legs too much, and her legs are getting so tight that they look almost skinny. They're not skinny, obviously. She's fucking jacked, but they look pretty diminished compared to this shape in her glute. Could she use a little more glute right here? Probably, yeah, but like I don't even know. She has one of those physiques. I think her physique is so good and could win like a lot of shows, but she has such a freak factor that I wonder if it holds her back. I don't know that it does, but it is something I wonder because like they say they want the standard to be attainable, which is honestly an insult because the standard is not really naturally attainable, at least at a certain level, like the level that she is at. So, but they don't really want to reward someone with like a freak physique, and I think she borders into that freak physique territory. Not that she won't win shows, of course, but like yeah, I always wonder if that's part of it. Her glutes look really good. The projection looks really good. Like they really have a shelf here, so this is excellent. Best her glutes have ever looked in her back pose, probably. I would say though, it looks like her hamstrings are a little bit flat in this back pose and in the front pose. She has some shape here, but yeah, if she could have a little more, it would just take taking time off and building up her hamstrings. But if she could build up her hamstrings, probably have to continue building the glutes so they stay in proportion or whatever. Even though I do think her glutes are a little overpowering, so the proportion, it would probably be like 2 parts glute or 2 parts hamstring, 1 part glute. Like that's just my guess. But yeah, this is good. Could she straighten her arms a little bit? Maybe. I'm wondering that. But yeah, this suit color, if it were just like the more saturated base, same stones even, that's good. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I love the hair. Yeah, everything else is great. The tan looks really good. Like, yeah, she looks good. My favorite look from her is still Hawaii. Hawaii was really, really good. Am I gonna pull it up? I mean, I guess I'm already kind of doing it. So yeah, Hawaii, this was my favorite look. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? And the other thing I've said about Brittany is that her stage presence, it kind of goes in and out with her smiling. Not to tell women to smile, but it does help to look like you're having a good time. And not that she's not having a good time, but it looks like she's kind of just focused on the task at hand and not like in the moment. So that's what I'd like to see. Okay, Ellie Fernandez. I love Ellie Fernandez. Really great front pose. I think she could have a little more shape in this upper outer glute here, but conditioning is spot on, makeup is spot on, hair is gorgeous, suit is really pretty. She's been in the Olympia like 7 times. I don't really have much I would change about this pose. Maybe straighten the arm. It looks like she's rounding it a bit, but yeah, really good. And then in her back pose, her downfall for me is always her glutes are a little bit square. I do like the suit cut. I think that works. And her hamstrings are pretty tight. So if she could like get more fullness in these legs, I think that would be game over for a lot of competitors. And then Alice, I love Alice. Her tan looked a little bit too light at this show. So I would say, better tan, like darker tan. Um, the pose is probably good, but straighten the arm, don't let it round. Maybe arch the lower back so you get more shape this upper outer glute, but hair and makeup are pretty. And the suit, it looks kind of polka dotty with these bright stones. So I would get a more uniform, saturated suit. And then her back pose, glutes look really full and like even in shape. Calves are a little overpowering, I'd say, and I would say more hamstring, just overall more lower body, I would say. Upper body looks pretty good. Sure, shoulders are sloping forward, so you don't really see much shape. You see more tricep. So if she like arched her upper back, like we talked about with a couple other people, I think that would help. The hair is pretty. Could it be a little more, a little shorter so it doesn't like sit and then curl like that? Yeah, I think so. And then finally we have Maxine. Okay, I love Maxine. So her tan looked light too. She also looks like she's tilted forward a bit, so I would have her just stand straighter up. But hair and makeup is gorgeous. I do wish she would smile also with her eyes, because she smiles, but it's just like the bottom half of her face. I think if she smiled with her whole face, that would really light her up and amplify her already awesome stage presence. But yeah, it's more like and less like I'm excited, That's what I want to see. Okay. But fullness, conditioning matches everywhere. It's really good. What do I think she needs? Same thing that I said earlier, just overall more density because the glutes just kind of flatten a bit here. Pull the suit bottoms down so we don't see that shallowness. Back pose is otherwise really good. Maybe angle the elbows in a little bit more. But yeah, I would say just more glutes. That's it. Okay, if anyone has any thoughts, questions, comments, let me know. And I will be back on Thursday evening with Chelsea. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Happy Pride and stay safe and stay looking out for the people in your life and even people who are, not that close to you, but are, orbiting around your life. So yeah, thank you guys. Bye.